Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is the Commando Cast, a video cast about all things Star Wars Destiny. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando.
Hey there, Star Wars Destiny folks. Welcome and happy Monday. So yesterday, Sunday afternoon, was the Renewed Hope ARH team live stream with essentially, let's just call it what it was. It was an in-flight report, right? Something we would expect to see from like a Fantasy Flight or an AMG or some other company that actually has a product. The ARH team, yet again, showing us that a bunch of dudes in their spare time can manage to outperform some of these companies that actually do this for their real job. But so with that said, there was a lot of really, really cool stuff that came out of today. I mean, we knew it was going to be big because, when we see this level of excitement from the ARH guys, like, we should be excited too, and fair enough. So what I wanted to do this morning in today's video was run down what we went through, kind of give my thoughts on blow by blow. And yeah, just go through it and revel in it. Hey folks, so thanks for tuning in. I kind of want to get right into this, as there was a lot of stuff, and we got a lot to talk about, a lot of really cool stuff. So I unfortunately wasn't able to catch this live. It went live at noon my time. I was running a pre-release today actually for Flesh and Blood, so I got back, had dinner with my family, put little man to bed, and caught up. And yeah, so here we are. So let's basically get started. So what I also did is I went through, and I'll put them in the description. I'll obviously have a link to there's a YouTube Versio of it, so I'll have a link to that, of course, but I'll also put the timestamps in of the specific topics if you just want to go to that, because it was an hour and 45-ish, like an hour 50-ish long. So if you're interested in some specific topics, I'll put the timestamp there as well, so you can just go check that out as well if you weren't able to get. I know they had like I think at one point like Lanza's wheel was like 60 some names, I think he said is what it was. Which is pretty good, but that's certainly not the whole community, right? So whether you're catching it through me, please go check them out, just so they can make sure they get the views, and they can really track their head count. So yeah, all right. So what we had seen, just to recap, I have it. It's pointing the wrong way. It's pinned on the channel, so it'll be up the whole time, or on the backdrop, it'll be the whole time of what they're going to talk about. Right. So we'll just kind of go in order, which they pretty much did as well. So it basically opened with Elrathian and Lanza kind of just shooting the S while people showed up, and then they opened with a wheel. And then at 11:30, timestamp is when they really got into it. So that was the first thing, the updates from the admin team behind the scenes on design and production. So as kind of expected, forecasted, yeah, there was really some names and frames moving in shakers. The long story short here is that three previous members, or three I should say, let me rephrase that. Three founding members of the ARH team have really been moved to quote unquote the board of directors, right? Like a what we'd call like an emeritus role. So Cruisin, Dark Angel AZ, and Aaron Chapman have all been put on the board, right? Basically, so they're still involved, but on a less active day-to-day basis, and that's been backfilled with some pretty exciting names. So Sarah Evans, I don't think there's many people left in the DC community, or excuse me, the Destiny community. Well, DC too, because she's part of the DC team, but in the Destiny community who don't know her, she's been actively involved basically since I think she actively got involved when back in Faltering Allegiances, when the first art spoilers came out. Like, she basically jumped in and made the art happen, right? So she's been directing that. I think that's a no-brainer to add her to the team. She's a fantastic positive. I aspire to have her positive spin on everything, at least Destiny. Like, I don't know her in personal life, but like, she's always positive and really awesome. Great move there. I mean, obviously, like she's doing a ton of work. She was already doing a ton of work. May as well get credit for it, right? So, congrats, Sarah. Rock and Troll, also a name that I think most people are familiar with at this point. Rock and Troll, I'm sorry, I don't know your real name. I probably would recognize it if I see him, but I just don't know it straight up. But Rock and Troll, obviously a staple name in the community and involved in the design side as well. So cheers and congrats as well. And then last up is 86. So 86, this one doesn't come as a surprise because most of us knew from a couple weeks back through like the GO announcements and stuff. He'd been making the announcements already, and they'd kind of already announced that they were tapping him in as the deputy. So I think it makes sense, basically bringing him under the arm to kind of like guide OP. So the 86, he's involved in some of the other YouTube channels as well, or had been previously. I don't know if he still is, but we've even had him on. He's been on this channel before, kind of doing interviews. So, yeah, awesome to have him on there as well. So that was the new structure layout, as well as kind of like the board emeritus structure. So, right, Destiny players never die, right? So, 26 minutes in, we go to the new Holocron. Now, the big announcement here, I mean, not the big announcement, but their headline was that Mean Streets is finally banned. I don't think this one's coming as too much of a surprise. I've got my own opinions about Mean Streets. Like, I think Mean Streets is a problem, but I think that too many people are blaming all of, like, not all of the problem, but I think a lot of the problems present in a couple other decks have been transferred to basically Mean Streets bearing the brunt of that hate. Not saying that Mean Streets in itself isn't like a design limiter, right? Because like basically let's be clear, every 3-cost event you ever make, basically you have to think about with Mean Streets, right? I mean, I get it. But I think that there's, I think a lot of the issues coming out of some of these really fast, like red, yellow piloting speed decks, like I don't know that they're all necessarily Mean Streets related, but it's certainly going to help things. You certainly can't jump for 2. That'll help. So yeah, that'll come out. Now, that was, of course, like I said, we talked about that, fine. That was really their headline. That was their banner. The main thing to come out of that was that there is a new Holocron. More importantly to me, or what interested me more, was they talked a bit about overhauling the reprint list, or in some fashion. I mean, I know there's a lot. People voted, and they voted the way they wanted to, and we're, getting to enjoy that right now. I actually don't hate things the way they are right now, but I'm also not playing competitively right now. I've actually intentionally avoided competitive play, so maybe that's why I'm not hating things, right? So, but regardless of where you fall on that, whether it's awesome or not awesome or whatever, right? There's no way, in my opinion, there's no way that this is long-term sustainable. That's essentially, I think that might have even been the word that Alrathian used, was not long-term sustainable. I forget. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but essentially, I'm paraphrasing then. That's basically what he's saying, is it's, it may be fun now, but it's not long-term sustainable. So they're basically going to start reeling that in. I mean, we knew that was going to happen already, but it sounds like they're more actively, or maybe they were just addressing it and kind of reaffirming that maybe that was the case. So they did announce that. So again, that was 26 minutes in. They kind of talk about the new Holocron. Not a huge amount of time spent on that update, but didn't really need to be overall. So at 28:40, the big news we were all waiting for, right? Surprise new content on the horizon. We speculated it was going to be a 2-player game, and it is, right? So ARH 2-player game. They didn't really give us more info than that, other than the fact that it's 2021. I will almost certainly, I would assume, I mean, ARH has basically partnered with Kingwood, so I assume that that's who it's going to come out of. The stuff I received from Kingwood before, I received I won a prize of the high stakes kit, and it was really, really, really nice. So I expect the same level of stuff from that. I'm almost certainly gonna, I mean, especially if it comes out in December, like if they could make it come out early December 2021, people could get it for Christmas, that'd be pretty freaking sweet, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm on board for this. That, of course, I mean, not of course, but I think you'd reasonably assume that all those cards would be standard legal, right? And it'll probably be tied to ARH-5 would be my guess, that those cards will be tied in with ARH-5 in terms of rotation. But they could also tie it to the core set too. So we'll have to see more, not the core set, it wouldn't be on the reprint list, but maybe it's like a core. Maybe it could be considered like a core. I don't know. We'll have to see. But, they're either going to tie it to a set and it'll rotate and then they'll backfill, or it will be essentially like an evergreen type product. All right. 3230. Let's not spend too much time on this because, but I'm showing it up right now. So ARH-4 is no longer ARH-4. ARH-4 is Unlikely Heroes. And they gave us one spoiler, pretty hot one, Pre-Vizsla, Deathwatch Commander. So he's a 13 health, or 14, 17, 13 health villain. Leader Trooper, doesn't suck. Yellow leader, by the way. 2 gun, 2 melee, 2 indirect, shield, resource blank. After setup, put a set-aside copy of Darksaber. Now, this is their Darksaber, not the Way of the Force Darksaber, which is legal in the reprint list, by the way. But no, this one, because it specifically calls out which one it is. And then add it to his free, so he starts for 3 dice. PA, remove one of your dice to give this character 1 shield. Doesn't seem obvious why that would be necessary. Sure, turn a blank and a shield doesn't suck. I'm betting there's something else going on there, though, right? But Darksaber, man, starting with, so the guy starts with 3 dice, 13 health. The big downside is, obviously, they get to steal your Darksaber when Pre goes down. The positive is you're pretty sure they're going after Pre first, which means you can do some pretty cool other stuff in theory. And maybe him at maybe him at single die doesn't suck, right? Because then you can do some crazy things with your 16-pointer. Again, first thing we've seen in the set, but there's a lot to talk about just on this guy. So this is a great, fantastic spoiler. 13. He seems pretty good. But I think there's an argument to be made looking at him at single die and basically like trying to, basically use him as because he's basically a 2-die character, right? He's a 2-die character with 2 upgrade slots, who can just he's either going to take bullets or not. I don't know. I'll see it develops. I could see a cool red-yellow thing with him. Maybe Moff Gideon or something. I don't know. All right. Anyway, so that's the news there. Now the confirmed date, which we already knew this from the release, but it was reaffirmed. Let's say that was reaffirmed to be November 19th. Yeah, that's actually what I put down in my notes. That it took was reaffirmed to be November 19th. Skipping ahead a little bit in the OP discussion, they did refer to that there would be a release weekend tournament, which again we assumed. Because that's just based on past history, we assumed that has also been confirmed, that there will be a release weekend tournament that will be free and basically follow the same standard type stuff as before. Definitely looking forward to that. Put that on your calendars, ladies and gentlemen. All right. What next? All right. Next up. So this is a big chunk of the discussion. It's really what I was looking forward to. I don't have a ton of images for this because I was kind of scribbling down notes in there. There wasn't a ton of images to be taken. But organized play, and then they said World 22, but it all fits under one bucket. So this was at 4628 is what I noted down. So 4630 or so into it. So roughly halfway through. There's pretty big changes on the horizon for OP. They basically addressed the fact that the majority of, and again, I'm just working off my notes here, right? So the majority of players are online, so the majority of events are going to stay that way. I think that's completely reasonable. That's just the new world, right? But they do address specifically a lot of, that's the big news, right? So they addressed the online stuff first, but they also said, but we do know that people want to play in real life, so they have plans for that. So just stick with me while we get through the online stuff. Artificery League is being basically rebranded. So starting in October, which is not that far away, right? Starting in October, that's going to be moved under the ARH umbrella. It's exactly the same thing. It's just being rebranded. Gandorf's going to continue to run it. All that good stuff. And remember that Artificery League plays a giant part in what feeds into Gandork's decisions, or not Gandork's decisions, but the decisions ultimately overseen by Gandorf from like the rules side on what will be and what won't be basically balanced and banned and all that stuff, right? So that's a very, very, very important, right? Even if you don't participate in that, the existence of that is very, very important to all of us because it plays into, kind of the larger top tier competitive scope type of stuff. The EG, the Entourage Gaming Weekly, is also being rebranded. So that used to be Thursdays. It has recently been Wednesdays. Mephisto's also been running that recently instead of Lanza, just because, life happens. But that's being rebranded also under ARH. And as of what they announced today was those are going to be Sundays at noon my time, so noon Pacific. That'll be 2 p.m. Central, 3 p.m. Eastern. That'll put it in the pretty late evening in Europe. So what's interesting about that is the Dice Commando tournaments are every other week at Sundays at 10 o'clock Pacific. So that, basically we're gonna have to figure that out. I'm gonna have to figure that out, right? So that's a thing there. Now that's not necessarily relevant to all of you because obviously actually I do want to use a second to set it right. So the EG tournaments are basically $5 entry, I believe. They run them every week. For Dice Commando tournaments, they're free to enter as long as you're a team member, right? Our team memberships cost $5 per month, right? So for 1 month, you get 2 tournament entries minimum for that. So I just want to, I think a lot of people don't necessarily want to come play our tournaments because like, oh, well, you have to be a member and there's a paywall. It's like, well, yes, there is a paywall technically, but there's also a paywall for the other tournaments on an ad hoc basis, right? So, and again, you got to do, and I get it. I'm not using this. I am using this as free advertising, but I just wanted to put things in perspective of, that was, something that had come up was, well, I don't like that there's a paywall for your tournaments. It's like, well, I get it, but you're also paying on you're paying on a cash basis to go into the other tournaments. It's basically like a member. It's basically like a club fee. Like instead of paying to go work out every time you go to the gym, you just pay the monthly membership, and it ends up being better value. So, but again, everything and the EG tournaments are awesome. I've played in only a couple of them just because it doesn't work out for me, but they're awesome. So, and that'll be moving under AH. I think it's only going to get better. Using the Sunday time slot, Their time choice is a little interesting. Part of the reason we've decided on or landed on 10 o'clock over iterations on Dice Commando is because that works out a little better for our European people because it's not quite so late by the time the tournament's done. Especially like the guys in Greece, because I know there's a lot of Greece guys, and it's going to be really late for them in Greece, like in the morning by the time the tournament ends. So, the extra couple of hours that pulling it into 10 o'clock for like Dice Commando did tended to really help for our European people because it's still, yes, it's late in the night, but it's not like early in the morning, right? If that makes a difference, right, for Monday morning. So anyway, that's, kind of just a little aside. That surprised me. That news caught me off guard, so we'll have to figure that out. They did also give a nice shout out to Echo Base about their tournaments. Their tournament, the Echo Base tournament, sounds like they're going to continue independent, which is good because that's been very, very European friendly. Those I cannot say enough about the guys over at Echo Base. I really love those guys. They're awesome. Dice Commando did not get a shout out at all, but that's okay. There were other content creators out there that did not get shout outs either. All right. So right now it sounds like weekly tournaments at 2 p.m. on Sunday, 2 p.m. Central, noon Pacific on the ARH channel run through there. They did mention, and I'm willing to mention, they had reached out. I am going to be helping them run their tournaments. They had reached out for help, and I said, of course, I will help. So I'll be helping them run that on some sort of frequent basis. Next, moving into, well, I guess some of them are online. So we know the Tatooine Open. I'll put that banner up. It's also a note to myself to actually put it up. The Tatooine Open was coming up October 2nd. That's only 2 weeks away, right? So definitely get in on that. They previewed the spot glasses for that. Tatooine Open prices. They also announced that Moff Gideon, they're essentially going to have a top tier price. So Moff Gideon, you can only get, just like the Afro one from the last mid-cycle, this one's going to be stamped, they said, with the top 4. So if you place in the top 4 of each heat, so there'll be a total of 12 of these, right? Because there's 3 heats. You can get Gideon. The other 3 that they've spoiled are Grief, Quill, I think is how you say it, I don't know, and then Cara Dune. So now I've got another one I'm interested in. I've decided between Mando and Ahsoka that I'm going for Ahsoka first, but that Cara Dune one's pretty cool. So, again, go check out the GOs. I know that there hasn't been a huge outpouring of signups yet, but it's one of those things where, like, once people start signing up, more people will sign up. But it's also 2 weeks away, and, you know, people are non-committal, especially when it's online, and it's just the way it is. So no stress there. People will be there. It'll be fun. All right, so moving into in-person play. So I specifically marked this at 5830 within the cast. They started going through in-person plans. So regionals. So in-person regionals basically are an on-demand flight that you can run, right? So if you want to run a regional, you reach out to them and you say, here's when we want to do it, and you can purchase the kit and you can run the tournament. Now, they'll, of course, work with you to make sure you're meeting certain standards. Like, you know, if you want to have it in your basement, probably not going to approve it. If you want to have it at like a bar or something, well, maybe, depending on, maybe they want to approve it because then kids can't go to, I don't know. But, like, you know, if you want to have it at a game store, it's probably going to get approved, right? So reach out to them. They're 86 mentioned they're going to have some sort of like online portal. Hopefully it'll be through their website. So much of the stuff they do right now is on Discord, and they really need to branch out on that, which actually, by note, by the way, they did mention that later on, and I'll hit on that. So hopefully that'll be there and not just some channel on the Discord, so that's nice. All right, so next, update on Worlds, because this all kind of goes hand in hand. So Worlds was originally announced going to be at LVO. We kind of talked about that in like, how is this going to go? Like, there's no reasonable way they could schedule Worlds at LVO, right? Because, like, we're not sure where we're going to be in 4 months in terms of COVID, and, like, you can't really have a Worlds if, like, you can't Worlds travel. So they're not doing LVO at Worlds. They're going to instead have an in-person GO there. So I think that's the right call to make. I think it's a bummer. Like, I'm bummed out. I mean, and I don't. Just hold on. I'm bummed out because I had made decisions so that because I was planning on going there for Worlds, and I wanted to see you guys and play with you guys. And I don't think that I'm bummed out that it's not going to be Worlds. However, I think it's the right decision, right? So like I said, I'm not saying that the right decision was made, but it doesn't mean I'm not sad about it. Is that a good way to say it? I think it is. Okay. So yeah, I'm bummed out about that. I don't know that as many people are going to go to a GO too, right? I think that's part of the issue. And then that's the next GO, they're holding one at Adepticon. I think that one's convenient for a lot of the guys that are a lot of the guys. I mean, let's be honest. I believe at least at 1.86 lived up there. There's also a lot of interest in that area up there, like Chicagoland. And Adepticon's something I've always wanted to go to, so maybe I'm going to try to do that one. We'll have to see. March is kind of a crappy time to try to go to the Midwest because it can still snow, right? But, I mean, it's Adepticon, so yeah. And that's usually more of like a miniatures-focused con, is my understanding, but it could still be fun. And then I think they confirmed that there's going to be one at MomoCon, which is, I had to look it up, it's in Atlanta. Yeah, and no, it's not in Lanza's backyard, although that might be more fun. But yeah, so that'll be in Atlanta, and that'll be in May. And then for their Worlds in Gen Con. And that one's kind of a bummer. I do think that one's kind of a bummer because that's going to be really expensive. I mean, the positive there is the same basically as like if it had been at LVO. Like, there's a lot of other things going on at LVO, so like people could go there, maybe do other things. Kind of the bummer of it being at Gen Con is like Gen Con's really big, right? Like really big. So I think it'll be a lot more expensive. It's also in August. I mean, that's not a big deal, but the point is that the positive is it's far enough away that like hopefully we can have this under control, or maybe we'll just all be living in our homes for good by then. I don't know, but so yeah, so that's the plan. So put that up. Sorry, I'm just doing it right now. So here's their important dates summary. from all of it. But with the in-person play stuff, I think it's really strong. I think it's a really aggressive schedule. I mean, it's one of those things where like you can't just have one GO and then say, well, depending on how the GO goes, we'll schedule the others. Like they have to schedule all three in order to really get success out there. But like if LVO attendance is like not great, I don't know. I mean, they're going to have to put working capital in for like the reservations and stuff, I would assume, for this. So like, I think they're really putting it out there. And I think, later on in the class, they made some calls to action for help. But like, I think one of the biggest calls to action we can do is to like try to go to these things. Right. Excuse me. So that's what we'll have to figure out how to do one way or the other, is figure out how to support this. All right, give me just a second. All right, so then at an hour 12 in or so, they specifically talked about the database, and by the database we mean SWDB, as we've all familiar knowing it. The best tool, it's the single best tool we've ever had in this game, without a doubt. But part of the problem statement, as most of you are aware, is it's not being updated. As far as we know, there was one guy who did it. And what they're doing is they're basically going to rebuild one. So they've got to basically go through and build their own thing that, the guy had years to work on and develop and perfect, and they got to do it, and they need your help, right? So they need help to get it done. They're trying to get it done. I mean, they said Q4, but like, let's be honest, we all know that they're trying to get it done by November 19th by ARH-4. I mean, that's when they need it, right? They need it by ARH-4. Like, we can limp along as it is now, using the database and then going in and looking up what's legal on the list. Like, it stinks, but like, we can live. But once they have new cards that aren't in the database, they need it. So I know they said Q4, but let's be honest, they need it by like, realistically, like early November. Right? So they need help, and they need help to get it done fast. So please reach out to them and help them. If you have any sort of coding skills that are greater than my ability to like do if-then statements in Excel, please reach out to them that you can help. And then at, I think it was like 118 or so, they specifically referred to Rebel Trader, which is a great Rebel Trader, local to me. He's a good kid, good man at this point, because I think you're older than now. He's taking point for their social media position, which is something that is something that they greatly need, right? They have been primarily, and this has been a large point of contention. I think the largest point of contention at ARH historically has been that they're largely tribal, in that they mostly live on the Discord. They sometimes reach out to Facebook and stuff like that, but one of their primary vehicles of communicating to their people was Discord, right? It started off with the Artificery Discord or the EG Discord or whatever, and kind of grew. And they're largely tribal, and it results in them not touching a percentage of, not a large percentage, but it results in them often not touching a percentage of the player base. That's why, why do I still add value? Just because people go to hear it? Probably, but there are people who aren't. There are people who watch this and learn from this who aren't on Discord. Right? And Rebel Trader understands that as well. He's very good on Facebook as well as the other social medias, right? They're on the Twitters and they're on the interwebs, right? Those kids these days. So he's a great person to go. He's a fan. Yeah, great choice. So he's going to be taking the reins there. I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, as we've talked about before, we've all seen it in the past, right? They haven't yet had a consolidated effort, right? They announced the Tatooine Open, for example, on Discord, and it didn't get announced on Facebook or even their own website, right, until later. Right, so having someone who can organize that structured social media blitz campaign, it's a job role, and Trader's perfect for it. So congrats, Trader. Thank you for stepping into that role. You're the man. So that's basically it. The last thing, so they ended with the Q&A, but before that, Arathion, who by the way, Arathion did a really good job, I thought, kind of moderating the whole thing. And, like I said in the intro, it was an in-flight report. Like they laid out what's happening, what's changing, what their plans are, where they're going, and their vision. And that's more than we got from any company that ever used to make this game, right? So again, props to you guys for doing what you're doing. Elrathian did a really good job leading that charge. And I don't just mean he did a good job moderating in a moment, but it was very clear that they had bullet points to talk about going in. And it was well thought out. So good job, Elrathian, as well. And Lanza in your wheel, if we ever lose you, oh man, are we in trouble? We love you, man. I do love Lanza. He's fantastic. Especially because he showed up in exactly what you'd expect Lanza to be wearing. So I love you, man. So anyway, last thing they said before they got out was basically a call to action for help, right? Help, right? If you've got time to give in whatever capacity, go help them. I know that, I just wanted to throw this in. I know that often I've been asked why I'm not more involved with ARH, largely because, just being blunt here, I thought that I could do better, or I thought that I could do more for the long-term continuation of the game by continuing my role here. And I was afraid that by getting involved in the other stuff, that it would take away from this. And I think it was the right decision to continue to do daily stuff on the channel and do updates and try to reach out to a broader audience than necessarily getting involved in card design and stuff. And, I think we've also been able, the Smash, I wouldn't have been able to do Smash or wouldn't have been able to do solo mode or anything like that if I'd been involved. So, why am I not more involved with ARH? I helped them run tournaments for a while. I was on their balance channel and stuff for a while. But that's the answer, folks, is it's not that I don't agree with the way they do things. I'm a huge supporter of them. That's why we follow their stuff here. But the reason that I'm not involved is I thought that I could help the community at large, which does include their effort, by being involved here. And I know that I've lost focus from time to time on that. And, we've gone down the rabbit hole, which we shouldn't have. But ultimately, I'm hoping that I am helping in my own way. But you guys know that I'm always here to help. So let me know what you need, and I can do whatever I can. And we've got a bunch of people who are, not we, like we being the community, have a ton of people who are willing to help as well. And I mean that to everyone in the community as well as specifically speaking to ARH. So with that said, that's pretty much the recap. I think I kind of hit my point. I don't know. We're 30 minutes in at this point, and who cares what I have to say anymore, right? So, I think we'll wrap this up, and I kind of went blow by blow. But the OP stuff is really, really exciting. We'll figure out what to do about the tournament conflicts. I'm gonna figure out personally what to do about the GOs. But I will definitely see you guys on October 2nd, or see some of you, whoever can play on October 2nd. I'm going to see you guys there. On release weekend, November 19th, I'm going to see you guys there. We'll figure out the rest. We'll figure out the in-person stuff. The important thing to take away from today is that we do have strong leaders who are doing a good job and putting a lot of effort in. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this, right? Because when I said we have an in-flight report that was better than anything we've got, it's true, and it is. And we have people who care and are doing a great job, and stuff like this is really exciting. So anyway, that is it for today. I hope everyone's as excited as I am about this. There's going to be a lot of challenges, and this is an aggressive schedule for them to hit. And as long as everybody pitches in and does their part, whether it be just showing up or whether it be helping, I think we can make it happen. But thank you, ARH guys, for putting this out today. Lots to talk about, lots to look forward to. Nothing else, folks. Go Commando.